going on, everybody? Welcome to the RBS Cinema Podcast.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
This is Sparta! I'm thinking I'm back.
Why so serious?
Avengers!
Assemble. I'm Batman.
You better lawyer up, asshole. Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
I'll be back. You shall not pass!
RBS.
Lovely.
Masterful.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of RBS Cinema. I'm your host, Devin. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jack.
I'm still Jack.
Not Sam, but Jack. Fortunately, Sam is always welcome, but well, I don't know. It was.
Do you want to do that?
I lost my train of thought for a second. Hold on.
He had to crack open his liquid death to cue the start of the podcast.
Goddamn right. Welcome to the Summer Movie Blockbuster months. That's pretty much what I'm calling it for right now.
Working title.
Working title. All I know is that, hey, stop licking my cable over there. I don't care if you lick on that one. I don't care. I don't know. My cat's over there freaking licking cables. It's kind of like when you have kids that lick the windows on buses. So, he's special. But
Don't be one of those kids. Don't raise one of those kids.
no. But because that distracted me. But yes, for those of you that are new to the podcast, especially for this week, for the months of June, July, and August, we're going to be talking about summer blockbuster hits. And that just means that we're not going to primarily be talking about summer blockbuster specific movies, but movies that make it feel like that it is a summer blockbuster. So, if a movie that came out in the fall or the winter, or even before the summer months, like the spring, they kind of feel like a summer blockbuster, you know? So, that's my viewpoint on this subject, at least. I don't know. I feel like this intro is kind of a clusterfuck, but we work with what we have. I had a morning, I'll say. Not a good morning. It was a morning. Because I had to wake up early, take my wife to get choir stuff done, and then went to the gym, worked out my legs. Killing me now, because my legs are dead. Got my hair cut, and then met with Jack downstairs. So
He was almost late for his own podcast. Sitting in the parking lot waiting for it to go up because I like to be punctual. I like to be right on time. And as I'm just thinking, like, oh, maybe I should start walking up about 2 minutes before 1. We're doing our podcast a little bit late this day. Who pulls up next to me but this guy? This guy pulls up. He taps on my windows like, who... You know, he has a little long hair. Maybe it's another guy who has long hair who lives in Devin's building. Nope.
I looked right at him. I looked right at you, too. Like, when I pulled up. And I thought that you saw me. You were like, oh, okay. He's here.
No, I literally thought you were somebody else. 'Cause I was thinking to myself, there's no way that's Devin, because Devin's already up in his apartment right now,
He's
getting ready for the
stuff up
podcast. He's watching Game Grumps like he always does on his big flat screen that's behind us. And so I'll walk up and I'll be like on time. But no, he pulls up right next to me and he taps on my window. He's like, hello, how you? And it's like, dude, what would have happened if I just walked up like 5 minutes early? I would have been standing outside your apartment for who knows how long.
Well, I also would have expected a text from you, too.
What if I just went home? What if I just like, you wouldn't open the door for me?
It was also your movie that you suggested to watch, too. So,
but you can't say that I didn't show up, though.
Well, yes, that is true.
Correct.
Well, to me, it would have seemed like that you didn't show up because you would have been leaving. So,
although you probably might have just caught me on the way out.
Probably.
You probably would have seen me leaving, just like, wait, flag that guy,
I would have
down.
Called you immediately and just been like, hey, do you want to turn around?
Like, where are you going? It's like, where are you going?
I'm going to my apartment. That's where I'm going.
And then why are you not in your apartment, Devin?
But yes,
so
reason for my tardiness was because I was getting a haircut. So Well, my hair's cut.
Your hair does not look cut. It looks the exact same as the last time that I saw you.
Well, that's only because that I got my sides and my back done. So
Okay.
I got those buzzed, and then I usually just like get off the split ends and dead ends and stuff for
I got
my
you.
top. But I don't know. I might change that this summer. Who knows?
It's gonna get hot.
It's hot.
It's hot today. It's 81.
Yep, it's hot. It's a hot one. So,
It's only gonna get hotter.
yep. But otherwise, I'm in a relatively good mood. So, that's pretty good. Generally, I'm in a okay mood, but today I'm actually in a pretty good mood. So.
Well, I mean, you've had more time to be awake now.
That's true.
We had to reschedule his podcast because
I had my haircut.
That's his haircut. So we're filming this podcast at 1 p.m. local time. We usually do it around 10.
Yep.
But he was like, "No, it's going to be cut a little bit short, you know. So I got to make sure that I get my haircut.
Yep.
We're gonna push back the podcast. So we're
Well,
here
I
now.
would have done it on Friday, but my wife had to go and do Tech Week, so she was doing stuff for her choir. So
That would have been a late haircut. Do you
Yeah.
do you have a specialty person that you go your haircut?
no, not really.
You just go like Great Clips or like something like that, or
No, I go to Scissors and Scotch.
okay,
So,
like a
and-
dedicated like barber shop basically. Okay,
And especially for my hair specialist, she moved locations, so now she's further out towards Elkhorn.
Oh,
so
yeah, okay.
I had to drive an extra like 10 minutes to get there. So, but yeah, otherwise you can also move your microphone more, like the whole arm.
I know I can. I just like it to be here. You know, maybe
So that you have to like bend over.
I'm. You know what? I'll do it, but not because you said to.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to.
Oh, okay. Whatever you say, Jack. Whatever you say.
Okay, can we talk about this film now?
I was gonna say you beat me to it. So enough mindless banter.
We gotta that's mandatory for any podcast. You gotta have a little bit of mindless banter, a little bit.
A little
Start
bit.
off.
If you
Little
guys
bit
want
just
to get to know us as the podcast boys, then that's how it goes.
It's just to make sure that you don't miss anything. Like if you first start a podcast and you're doing something else, you can sort of tone this part out just in case you're doing something.
Yeah.
But then it's like now we're getting to the real stuff.
Now we're getting to the meat of the sandwich. So here we go. This week's episode, we decided to talk about war games.
War games.
Well, not that we decided to. Fate decided
Fate
to.
decided for us.
The wheel of fate decided to.
We'll get into that more closer to the end of the pod, but like we'll
Yes.
talk about
Also true.
war games, which is one of the movies that I wanted to put on the wheel first.
So have you seen this before this?
No. Well, actually, that's not true. I saw a little bit of the ending. That's because my dad was watching it, but I never saw the movie
Prior.
from start to finish. I've only known about the references that this movie
Makes.
has like. There's references in the media that about this film, and so that was sort of my experience with it. But I wanted to put it on the wheel because one, I took Devin's criteria of Summer Blockbuster very literally. I literally chose movies that were like actually box office like spectaculars during the summer.
Yeah.
So some it's like
During the summer
like
months.
literally summer blockbusters. And this is one of the movies that I saw. I was like, really, war games? And I was like, I wonder why it was so. Because I thought it was just a kids movie.
Yeah.
I just saw sort of the end of it, so I didn't really know how serious some of the tones are in this film. Mm-hmm. But I put on there because I'd never seen it before. First off, I wanted to pick movies that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Because they're more interesting to talk about that way instead of something that I've seen a million times. But
Right.
also that it's sort of a little different movie than some of the other ones that we put on this list. Mm-hmm. It's not the ones you immediately think of when it comes to summer blockbusters. So I really wanted to
No.
talk about this one.
Because now with summer blockbusters, it's more like, oh, it's a Marvel movie. Or it's a superhero
Most
movie.
often, it's
So.
some sort of like pre-existing property that they're making a film about.
Yeah. Or it's like a horror movie they decided to come out during the summer, which I don't understand, but I kind of do at the same time. It's like you don't want to fight everybody for the the slot of fall, because around October is a spooky month. So
yeah, but like I think it's kind of genius how they put out most horror films in the months when it's colder, because when you go to a horror film, what do you usually do, right? You take a date, right? You don't want to go see it by yourself. She doesn't want to go see it or he or she doesn't want to go see it by themselves. So you do it in the cold because it's cold already. So when a scary moment happens, you grab the person's hand, you bundle up, you know. So it's kind of ingenious the way that they do that. But
Yeah,
no,
a
we're
little
talking
bit.
about summer blockbusters.
Blockbusters.
At least my definition of them.
Yes.
So Devin's definition is a little bit more
Skew.
loose.
Yeah.
Because listen, I want to take this very seriously, you know.
Because even for me, I don't even think that War Games is a summer blockbuster.
It literally is.
I know that it is.
It's on IMDb's list of like
saying
summer
that
blockbusters.
but I'm saying that like it doesn't feel like a summer blockbuster though.
Because it doesn't match your vibe of summery.
Right. It's not like a generic action movie to where it's like, oh yeah, I could watch this during the summer, and it feels like it's a summer movie.
See, but that's not necessarily a bad thing in this movie's case. This movie was very good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I finally got a chance to watch it. So let's talk about it a little bit.
So, getting down to the bare bones of the movie specifically, so we'll talk about the writers, directors, starred in it, all that jazz, and then we will talk about more specifically about the movie in depth. So the movie is about a young man finds a backdoor into a military central computer in which reality is confused with gameplay, possibly starting World War III. That doesn't hit close to home. I don't know what the hell does.
This movie was definitely showing its age a little bit. It's definitely from a different time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It'd be really hard to try to make this movie in more modern terms of technology.
Yeah.
I don't think it really could be done because that's just not how computers work nowadays.
Right.
So I can't wait to talk about this. I'm really excited because there was some parts of this movie that was like I was gripped.
Yeah.
During this film. You know,
on the edge of your seat, you're like, "What's going to happen next?"
I'm not joking. I actually was.
So we got director John Badham.
I think it's Badham. That's believe how you
Then we got writers Lawrence Lasker and Walter F. Parks. And then, let's see, we got stars Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, John Wood, Dabney Coleman, Barry Corbin, Wanan Clay, just to name a few people.
Not too many like standout stars. This was a movie made in 1983.
Yeah.
After all, most of these people are probably either dead or aging. So
yeah, which I did also want to shout out. Who was it? Let me see. Actually, I have it written down on my notes. Where is it? Eddie Deason.
Who's that?
So he was the here he is.
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
he was one of the tech guys that Broderick goes to. David goes to in the film. I was gonna make a note about that because I noticed his voice. I did too. Like his voice is very notable.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
So yeah, he's also in this movie as a small part, where David goes to his friends, being Jim and Malvin, and they're big like tech nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that he was like, hey, like trying to find this back door to get into this system, and I want to know if you guys can hack it. And they start looking at the paper, and it's supposed to be the fact that like there's all these games that are around there, and he thinks it's like this gaming computer.
Yeah.
So, but it turns out that it's not. Turns out it's actually for the government, for starting war simulation. Yeah. So, well, nuclear war simulation, I should say.
Wait, so why are you calling out Eddie Deason again? I missed that.
Reason being is because that like he's very notable for his voice, and his voice work.
Yes, I was just looking at that, actually.
Yeah, so he plays as Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory.
He's also, the there was a meme a long time. You know Polar Express, right?
Yeah.
The know-it-all kid?
Yeah.
That's him too.
Oh yeah.
And it's like,
I was also gonna say like he's the kid that is supposed to be like the.
he's literally listed
as
as know-it-all in
Yeah.
that film because like characters in that film don't really have names,
Yeah. And let's see. I do have some taglines here. So we'll shoot through those, and then we'll talk more in depth about the movie here. The only winning move is not to play.
That is a line in the film.
I was gonna say. I feel like that's like a spoiler.
That's vague enough that people can like sort of understand that. I think without like totally giving it away.
Possibly. To David Lightman, global thermonuclear war will just be one hell of a game. To everybody else, it will be hell waiting to happen. It's kind of a long one there.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of taglines for this film. It is.
Yeah, it's got a few. Global thermonuclear war. You may think it's one hell of a game. You couldn't be more right. So, wouldn't you rather play chess? What are you doing? Just hanging out? Okay. Shall we play? With an exclamation point.
Yeah.
No question mark. Would you like to play a game?
That's the most famous one.
It is.
That's the one that like most people like. You say that one is like, oh, is that War Games? Yeah. That's the one that people take away from that one.
Now, because of Saw, is like, I want to play a game. So I think that people now would misconstrued like, would you like to play a game for Saw? Because then the actual Saw fans like me would just be like, actually, which I would never do this, but it's like, actually, he says, I would like to play a game.
Yeah,
would
so
you like
that's
to play a game?
what I thought. I thought that's what I want to play a game.
Yeah. So
never seen any of the Assault films yet.
Right. This is the weekend they didn't play chess, but they should have. David's father bought him a home computer. He's used it to change his high school grades. Now he's found a new game to play.
I don't think they ever said that in the film, though.
I don't think they ever.
They never gave that exposition that
his
David
dad bought
specifically
him.
got him that computer.
Yeah.
Because David seems like the guy that would like do that himself, because like his dad, like nobody really understands computers the way that he does.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess his dad bought it for him.
I suppose.
Sure.
Well, I would say so because like he's a high school kid. He's only like 17, 16, 17.
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, 17-year-olds, they have jobs back then, right?
Not if he's at the arcade playing games.
Hey, his score on Galaga, that was going up, all right?
I know. And
also, it feels like he wouldn't even need to purchase anything if he knows how to, like...
hack stuff.
It's not...
Yeah.
The way he describes it's not really hacking, really.
It's not hacking, no.
It's sort of...
But it is a way of hacking. As good as E.T. So let that sink in.
That's the tagline? As good as E.T.?
I would assume that it's for the trailer. Like, oh, get ready for War Games. It's as good as E.T. Like,
I guess that's one way to do it because movies were not as like. Well, I mean they were big, but like, people need an excuse to go out to the theaters.
Yeah.
In terms of like, oh, what's this new movie I've never heard of it before because
right.
I don't have access to the internet, so I gotta like go off of taglines on posters.
Yeah.
So.
Got a couple left. David's father bought him a home computer. Now he's found a new game to play. Which, it's just saying
really
what
driving
the
that
other
home
stuff.
that like that this kid can't is not. He can't buy his own stuff. He has his dad buy it for him.
And then the last one, is it a game or is it real?
Wow.
I
It's
know.
real. It's spoiler alert, it's real. Okay.
It's
So,
Yes, Jack?
cats are going in the background.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my
My
train of
cat
thought.
my cat is freaking out in the background. It's fine.
So, the opening to this film was not how I imagined it going.
Oh yeah, like the nuke test was actually like pulling me in because I did like the fact that like when the two guys walked into the room that there's a sign that says like,
I was gonna I took a note of that immediately.
Says, anyone urinating in this area will be discharged. I'm like Who needs to pee that bad that you have to go in the corner?
Well, they're locked
But-
underground. There's no bathrooms down there. They can't
Well, yeah,
go, they
that's
can't
true.
go to the bathroom. They're too busy watching the missiles.
That's true.
So yeah, basically how this movie starts out, which is not how I expected it to. Like these two, like we see a shot of like a really windy day, a really stormy day, where these two men are entering this,
There we go. That's better.
driving to this house,
Yeah.
and they look at like this mirror inside the house, and it's actually a window because it's like a secret facility. So they go down the elevator to get into the facility, and they from context clues you can pick up that they were leaving
Yeah.
two guys for something. It's some sort of military thing.
Well, they're swapping out shifts because like of the nuclear.
Yeah, but we don't know that
bomb.
yet.
Well, yeah.
At this point, we don't know what they're doing yet. So we just see a bunch of computers and stuff. So like I didn't even really understand what they were doing either. Like you could guess, but like it's more fun to I was more fun to think that like
Speculate.
I wanted to see what was actually going on. But like these
They're-
guys work.
They're switching out their shifts for ping
Yeah, because
pong. It's fine.
they work in 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So they get in, and they're pushing all the knobs. They're like saying technical jargon and stuff like that. But then they finally like get a phone call, and it says like, I don't forget what exactly it was. Like, write down these coordinates, right?
Yeah, it's like write down this code,
And
and
it's
what
a
they
bunch-
have to do is like verify that the code is real, and then they have to turn the keys at the same time.
Because it's the launch code.
Yeah,
So and then
because like with each launch, there's a new code that comes up. It's never the same.
yeah, because it's encrypted.
Yeah,
So they have to be physically told the code, enter it in just to verify, like,
That's
whether
like
or not
the
it's
code
like
that's supposed
this
to be
code
there.
is like, can we confirm this is real? Yes, this is real.
Yeah.
This is not a test. This is not a test. And it gets to a point where they are about to turn the keys to launch the warhead, and one of the guys is like, I just don't believe it. I want to call somebody.
Yeah.
And to the point where, sir, turn your key. Right? The other guy is going. And then when he doesn't, he pulls out
his
gun.
gun.
And that's like, oh,
And
shit.
then, and then he goes like, turn your key, sir. Turn it. And then he's all like, no. And then it just cuts.
It just cuts, so we don't know what happens. It's like, I
But
really
then,
thought that,
then after that, like we actually figure out that it was actually just a test.
But like I thought it was real the whole time until they told me it was a test.
yeah.
'Cause like for me, when they said it was a test, I thought it was like, did he actually shoot him? And is that why all of these guys are here? Because like there was an incident where the guy shot him even though it was a test. But no, they're just explaining that like, oh, there's a certain, like, humans are unreliable for this type of work. That they're stressed out. They're crammed in a box.
Yep.
And they're on top of nuclear warheads, and they're in charge of launching them, and they can't question orders, but some of them do anyway.
Yeah.
So the whole conflict with the military at NORAD in this film is that humans are too unreliable to be able to make decisions when it comes to national security, when it comes to launching nuclear warheads in the event of a nuclear
war.
strike from Russia, because 1980s, Soviet Union's still a thing. We're still in the Cold War, so obviously we got to have people with their hands on the buttons, And so the solution that the scientists, I guess,
I
were
think it
talking
was
about
like the scientist. He is saying that like, well, humans are unreliable. What we need to rely on is more computers.
we need to take humans completely out of the equation, because we can entrust this computer to do it for us, which is the
Whopper.
The Whopper, yes. The
Whopper, Whopper, Whopper.
Whopper, 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 Whopper. But basically, it's a.
I love that.
I forget
name.
what the. Is it like the War Operations Planning Reactor? I think
Something like that.
something
I
like
don't
that. Like it's an acronym, but basically, what it does all day is this machine. What I was explaining in the movie is that they tell us that this machine runs simulations all day.
Yep.
For every single possible
It
scenario.
runs tests.
And that could happen in the event of like World War III, right?
Yep. Pretty much.
Which is hilarious that they're even that it even does that, because World War III, to normal people, everyone knows that like it's Armageddon. Like we're not surviving if there's nuclear warfare, right? Humanity's done at this point. But the computer doesn't know that. So that's where we are right now, and that's the exposition that we sort of go through at the beginning, and then that might be introduced in the middle, but at some point after that opening scene, we cut to an arcade and we get to see our main character, David Lightman.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like I love the fact that he's playing Galaga before school, and then he rushes to get back to school,
and he also he's about to go to school first off, but there's a kid in the arcade, and he asks him to take over for him.
Yeah.
So why isn't that kid in school?
Right. My biggest thing was that literally he had time to go down to the arcade because like there's just a bunch of kids there. A bunch of teenagers and stuff. So so it's a local hangout spot.
Yeah. So what are all those kids doing
for the kids? And like they all hang out. They play video games. They eat food. They hang out. Do whatever. And I'm all like, what time is it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you kids, but like I went to school at like 7 a.m.
It could be that like they're at lunch, you know? It could be the middle of the day.
It could be.
It's never explicitly told like what time of day it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was probably in the middle of the day, which is crazy to me that they let teenagers out to go have lunch out of the school building.
Well, like even
this is also the 1980s, and things were a bit more.
Well, I mean, like even
all you had to worry about was drugs. So
yeah, like before I started in high school, they were allowed to go off campus.
Yeah,
and like drive around and like get food and whatever, and then come back. But because like people were getting into accidents and stuff when they left and everything like that, so they just decided not to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So. But I don't know if that's how it is in some areas of the U.S. or not, because obviously I've been out of school for like ever. But I do remember that there was a time that you could just like leave school campus just to go and get food, like lunch, and then come back and stuff. So, but I don't know.
Maybe it's weird. It's again different time.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure because it looked way too late in the day for it to be like just before class starts.
Yeah,
so he must have been on lunch or something like that.
Possibly,
but he has to run back with his book.
Yeah,
back to school.
I did love the fact that when he gets back in, his teacher calls him out for one being late to class, and two to also emphasize that he flunked his test, as well as like his potential future girlfriend that now is just his friend. So, because throughout the course of the movie, it's all like, oh yeah, like you know that there's something between them.
I was not expecting that, by the way.
You weren't?
I was not. No. What I'm talking about is like at the very beginning. I was not expecting her to like latch onto him. Yeah, right. I was expecting it like to be the other way around, where like she's not too into it, but somehow she gets wrapped into this.
Yeah.
But no, she's on him instantly.
Oh yeah.
Very, very.
They're friends.
It's a subversion of expectations from what you normally see in like a movie that involves a high school guy, with a girl, you know. So, but like the classroom scene is so funny because he tries to sneak in. It doesn't work. There's no way it was going to work.
Well, like he snuck in, but the teacher already knew that he wasn't
there.
Yeah,
so like that's what I mean. So, like there was no way he wasn't going to get noticed trying to sneak in because class has already started. But on top of that, he also goes to the extra effort of like saying, "Oh, Mr. Lightman or David, how nice for you to join us."
Yeah, and then he just goes like, "Hey, do you know the answer to this question?" He goes like, no," and then he just goes like, "Yeah, that's right. You didn't know because you flunked your fucking test, you idiot."
Yeah, like what an asshole. Like, yeah, and I guess this is back in the time where you couldn't discipline your students anymore, so you have to like get creative with how you want to like humiliate them.
Yeah, because then his future girlfriend Jennifer, she was like laughing and stuff to her friend, and so he just goes like, "Oh, like, do you know the answer to this question?" And so she just goes like, "Oh, it's love, isn't it?" And so he goes like,
"It was
no.
Like, why do nitrogen cells attach themselves to like roots of plants? Is like love?" It's like,
and
no,
like, no,
that's not correct. And you,
my My favorite joke that they made in this was the fact that
it
the
was so
teacher
good.
asked him, and he goes like, your wife?
No. The question was specifically like,
Well, it wasn't
how
like the same
how
question,
is it
but-
possible for organisms to
reproduce asexually.
using asexual reproduction?
Yeah.
It's like do you know any creatures that are able to produce asexually? And it's like
And
your
then
wife.
he said your wife.
Maybe you could tell us who first suggested the idea of reproduction without sex.
Your wife?
That was a really funny joke. It really landed.
Was.
And like it.
And then he's all like, "Okay, you can get the hell out." And he goes like, "All right, cool." And like that
get
was
outta
the
here,
whole
Lightman.
that
Get
was the
outta
whole
here.
plan, because like he knew. Also,
Oh,
like
you
when he goes
Do you
to
think
the,
he planned it?
it's a good possibility, because like later on they actually talked about it.
Oh,
but
man,
like
that makes
the thing that I say that they planned it was because of the fact that when he goes to the basically the principal's office, he goes through a drawer and it has basically like the school administration login password.
Yeah.
And then then he goes home, and then he gets on his computer and he's going to change his grade.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer's also there, and he goes like, "Oh, I'll change your grade too."
No, like,
But she asked him like, "Well, how did you learn, or like how did you know how to get into the school system?" And so he goes like, "Oh, I know where they keep the password." So
like that puts it on a whole new perspective for me, because
yeah, because then the next day he's back at the arcade and he's playing Galaga again, and then she didn't want him to change his grade or to change her grade
at first.
Yeah, at first, and then she confronts him and goes like, "You know what? Actually, I now that I thought about it, I do want you to change my grade."
Yeah.
And so he goes like, "I already changed it."
Yeah.
So
Oopsie.
and so like that was going to be
yeah.
the plan, was that he was going to get in trouble again in class, and then he was going to get sent down to the principal's office again, and then he was going to look at to see if it was the same password. Like that was going to be the whole plan for that. So
See, but like,
because now she knows that he knows the password and stuff and where they keep it and stuff, because they change it every week.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like that whole thing of where it's all like he's hacking into the school computer system,
Which again is complete nonsense to me
like
nowadays.
that.
It's like,
That to me doesn't make any sense either, because like I watched Hackers recently for this other podcast that is great, but I just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, okay, so he's hacking before the movie Hackers is even a thing, and before hacking is even a thing. So he's hacking in 1980s.
like this kid's a genius.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, how do you know how to hack into a system, like, at all?
Because he explains it like the way he's able to do it. Like, he calls the school's number,
Yeah,
but his computer registers it as tones.
yeah.
And he's able to turn those tones into
Code.
him being able to read the computer.
Yeah.
So he's able to log into literally any computer on the planet as long as he has the phone number. So
and like that was the big thing when he was trying to get the gaming PC.
he wants to get a new gaming PC basically, but he
Yeah.
doesn't want to have to pay for it. So
Right.
he's like,
so he's
I'm
just
gonna
gonna
hack
send it
into-
to himself.
Yeah, I'm gonna like hack, quote unquote, hack into Protovision's computer systems.
Yep.
But I don't know what their phone number is, so I'm just gonna try every phone number in Sunnyvale, California, until I find the right one that will let me into their computer systems. So that's how this whole thing starts. Because like, if you're wondering how the hell does a kid manage to hack into NORAD, to like military computer systems, and it's like, yeah, that's. I'm still not
little
convinced that
far-fetched.
again, never would be able to happen in modern times, right?
No.
They saw that movie and they were like, damn.
Well,
that would be funny if that was how that actually worked. But like,
well, I especially love the fact that like she asks him to, like, Jennifer asks him like, "Can't you get arrested for that?" And he goes like, "No, because you need to be 18 and everything." And so I'm like, that's bullshit, because no matter what you do, if it is illegal, you could still be tried as an adult.
Because that's a felony.
Yeah, because like
he
not only just like you breaking into the system of national security, like government facility, that doesn't matter. You're still hacking into people's systems and you're still like doing stuff.
He was showing off because like
he was
Jennifer
all
was
like
like trying to show Jennifer like how's all this stuff work, and it's like, well, I'll show you. Like I'll type in a random number that I found, and one of them is literally just
the
Pan
airport.
Am.
Yeah,
Like he
just
literally
the airport
gets him and her two reservations for seats to Paris.
Yeah. Because he asks like, where do you want to go? And so she goes like, oh, let's go to California. And she goes like, no, Paris.
Oh, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Or no, it's another one. But like,
I think it is California.
Yeah, California. And then he's like, no, let's go to Paris. And it's like,
and because then later on, once he actually gets caught, they ask him like, well, why were you going to go to Paris? And he goes like, well, you see, it's kind of a funny story. I was trying to get in bed with this honey. You should have fucking seen her. But
he never said that though.
No. I was making a joke.
Oh yeah.
No, I was making a bit, Jack.
A bit. Okay.
A bit. But no, it definitely. I just think it's funny that throughout the movie, when they're in the bedroom together, it just seems like that, like they're to start making out or something. Like that's
what would happen in a modern movie.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because like kids love sex.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought it was hilarious because I was all like, okay, this is when they're gonna bang, and then it's all like, because why is she leaving?
Like why is he letting her leave?
Yeah, and I'm all like, and she's not putting on the moves. What is his problem? Like, he's a big nerd.
Like she's running to his house, like she's jogging to his house, and
she's all hot and sweaty, and so she goes like, hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick and cool down. And he goes like, oh, okay, and I'm like,
he's got his shirt off and he's got like his clothes, like
yeah.
First off, the first time that they ever like hey, I saw you. I know we're sat in the same class together. Sorry that happened to your teacher. You want to ride home? A girl giving you a ride home
because like
on her
she's on like a dirt bike.
Yeah,
and like the thing is that she goes like, oh, sorry that you got in trouble in class. He goes, yeah, it's fine. Like it's.
She comes on to him.
Yeah,
not the other way around.
Like, dude, take the hint. Like,
yeah, take the fucking hint.
But I did think it was funny that like at dinner, his mom is on the phone talking about business stuff because she's a businesswoman.
She's a real estate agent.
Yeah,
because she works for like 21st Century or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and so like that's why he wants the Panasonic gaming computer, is because that like he's looking through a magazine.
Yeah,
and he sees it and he goes like, I need this now. And when she sits down to actually start eating, which I did appreciate the dad, where he butters the bread and then he takes the corn and then he just rubs the butter from the bread on there.
Now. That's
I'm like,
smart.
Dude, I never thought of that.
I never thought of that. And we live in Nebraska, all right? Corn is
everything to us apparently. So
so like that's genius.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I gotta try the next time I have a corn on the cob.
He's sitting there eating raw corn.
Yeah, and so he takes a bite and he goes like, ow. And so he goes like, this is raw. And she goes like, I know, isn't it great? Like, you can definitely. And so she goes like, yeah, you can definitely taste like the vitamin A and D and everything.
So
and he goes like, we can just take vitamins and you can cook the corn.
This corn is raw.
I know, isn't it wonderful? It's so crisp.
Of course it's crisp. It's raw.
At the very least, you should be steaming the corn.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to grill it or do anything special, but like if you have corn on the cob, it's got to be cooked. All right.
I just thought that was hilarious.
That was very funny.
I was just like busting out laughing because of it. The other thing that I actually really thought was funny was the giant floppy disks that he uses whenever he uses the computer.
It's super
It's super 80s, and I'm all like, oh my god, I haven't even seen a floppy disk in a movie in forever.
This is back when the computers all like didn't have any like imaging software. It was all just green text on screen. You know, it's just like super mechanical keyboard.
Right.
And so
let's see. I did have written down in my notes about the whole thing of him like telling Jennifer that like, oh, like you like, can't you get in trouble? Like, can't you get arrested for like hacking into the system?
And then it's like, no, I can't because I'm a minor.
Yeah, and then I instantly thought of hackers, and I was all like, that's fucking bullshit, because in Hackers, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's actually a decent movie. You should watch it. But and I think it's free on Tubi still or on Amazon. I can't remember. But regardless, the main character was tried as an adult at 8 years old when he hacked into bank, and he basically like hacked into like 23 servers or something like that for this
banks
bank.
don't play around. They
So
want
yeah,
press charges.
so yeah, so that's the other thing, and I'm like, maybe it just depends on what he hacks into. I guess I don't know.
Like if you hack into NORAD, you're going to prison.
Oh yeah, no questions asked. Like you're
You're going
literally
to federal prison.
yeah, and like that's what they do.
Federal
like he goes to the
penitentiary.
7-Eleven, he gets a soda, and then like he goes to walk, and then they instantly like swarm him.
But that's later in the film because like we still haven't even gotten to like the big event of like him hacking into it yet.
Yeah, because when he hacks into the phone number system for California, he finds this phone number that is actually attributed to these games that he finds on the system.
Yeah.
Well, then he thinks that it's the gaming computer, and it's not. It turns out that he's actually just breaking into the federal government whopper.
Well, he's not able to do that initially because he has to have the password.
Well, yeah, because then he starts researching, and that's why you missed a week of school. It's because that he was researching a bunch of
He
this
was going
stuff.
to the library like a nerd.
Yeah,
And he was going to talk
Like an
to like computer
idiot.
scientists like a nerd.
yeah.
You know?
Versus when you can just go home and just do it on your gaming PC. I don't know.
And it's like the reason that he is able to log in the first place because the computer scientists tip him off about the very first game on that list, which is Falconer's Maze.
Yeah, and then that's when he starts doing
He started looking into Joshua
research, and then alludes to the fact that the password is actually his son's name, and he goes
Yes.
like, "It can't be that easy," and types in Joshua, and he goes like, "Oh fuck, I'm in."
No,
Oh shit, that was easy as hell.
Again, this whole thing is happening because the computer scientists also tell him that like the way to get into the system if you don't have authentication, the password, is to use a backdoor. Mm-hmm. Which, again, backdoors are not that simple.
They're not. I love
And-
how in these movies when they show people hacking, it's like that's not how hacking works.
Because they can't actually show how it works, dude.
I know.
But then like you have like real computer scientists be like, no, that's not how that works. Like
Yeah.
you could find like probably a YouTube on like a YouTube video today where you could like see computer scientist reacts to hacking in movies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And they'll be
it's
like,
kind of like, what is it, Variety that does that? Where they go
Maybe.
like,
I don't know.
oh, like martial art, like
Yes.
martial artist reacts to this movie.
There's
and,
100% a person reacting to war games hacking and be like,
Oh yeah,
no,
100%.
That's not how that would have worked back
you
then.
can hack into systems, but it's not the way that they're
It's still
portrayed
real
in
to me,
movies.
damn it.
S-
The dumb thing is like it's just like the way that he's able to log into his computers because he's able to replicate the tones
Yeah.
using a phone, and it's like there's no way.
No.
There's a lot of stuff in this
Well,
film. Like,
even-
how is he able to do that? Like,
Well,
that
even
doesn't
in
seem like that would work.
the movie Hackers, like when the guy gets arrested at like 8 years old, he was able to use the phone line to do so as well, like with his computer. And they're like, okay, well, up until he's 18, he can't have a computer and he can't have a phone.
Right.
So because like if he has the phone, he can figure out a way to actually hack into a system
Yeah.
and stuff. And even in that movie, they were able to use payphones to hack into systems. Like they had the laptops and they jacked it into the payphone. Or no, they didn't jack it into the payphone. They used the payphone as a receiver to go into different systems
Yeah,
and
it's
softwares and
like
stuff.
there's also a point where he like is able
Ow.
to bypass the coin slot on a payphone.
Yeah.
Using like a piece of metal that he
It
found
was
on
no,
the ground.
it's like the tap from a can of soda.
Yeah,
or
like
beer
a
or
soda,
something.
like an aluminum tab.
Yeah.
He's able to unscrew the little thing on the phone. It's like, really, it can't be that easy.
No,
right?
Like that was
Like
my
he
biggest
does
thing.
things
and I'm
that
all
makes
like, he's a hacker. He hacked the payphone.
like this
I'm all
kid.
like,
This
that
kid
doesn't
is like
work.
17 years old and he's already like a genius, and he's able to just get around all of these complex systems. Like
Yeah.
like he's 17 and he like if this was like a realistic thing today, like in a modern movie, the military would see how he's able to do all these things and be like, would you like a job?
Right.
Would you like a job, young man? Because
Yeah.
they would probably be like, we'd rather have this guy working for us than, trying to hack into our systems.
Yeah.
Because that's how the government works in movies. They're just like,
I-
we're going to give this criminal like a desk job.
Well,
Like,
it's kind of like with Catch Me If You Can, where the
Yes, I was about
guy
to
gets
say.
arrested,
Yeah.
but he's all like, not, well, like, he's able to get a reduced sentence because now he's working for the government for,
Yeah, but he hates it.
yeah.
But then he
it
finally
also-
gets turned around at the very end.
And it also reminds me of, like, because I just recently watched The Shield. Like, I watched all of it, which, great show. It's awesome.
Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you mean?
No.
Oh, The Shield.
The Shield.
The Shield.
Yeah, it's a old FX series.
Ah, okay.
And, like, by the end of the series, like, he's got all this stuff that's, like, dirt on him that he has done throughout the series. He just goes like, well, I want to make a deal. And what he ends up doing is talking to, like, this FBI type of facility or something like that.
Yeah.
And what he ends up doing is like, okay, I want to make a deal. If I confess all the stuff that I've done, you guys give me immunity and I don't go to jail for it. And so he does this, and now they hate him for it because of all the shit that he's done throughout the series. They're like, what the hell did we get ourselves into? And once, you know, they go like, okay, like, you can have immunity if you catch this guy and you catch the drugs. Okay, so he catches the guy with the drugs. Everything's all kosher. And then he goes like, okay, like, when do I go back out on the street? And so the lady that helps him do this stuff, and so she goes like, you don't actually go back out on the street. You actually are sitting at a desk. So it's all like, he's able to walk free. His family was moved for protective custody. And like, at the end of it, he's all like, just at a desk, like, at this job that he loved being a cop, but he wanted any means necessary by not going to jail, and he fucked himself over for doing all of that. So
it's like you know, like, I kid, but, like, those are kind of like my kind of favorite things where you turn a bad guy into a good guy at some point. It's why I'm kind of like, I kind of like Suits. You ever heard of Suits?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like,
I wear them sometimes.
no, but like
The
show
show
about
Suits,
show about
The lawyers.
lawyer who, like, lies to pretend that he is, like, a Harvard graduate when he just, like, has a photographic memory.
Yeah.
And they, like, the whole first couple seasons is all about, like, him hiding his secret. Like, that's interesting to me, that, like, you can turn yourself into a force for good even though, like, you're technically a criminal.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So, anyway.
Well, speaking of criminals, I did think that it was funny that, like, once he hacked into it, he goes, oh man, like, this is it. And he goes like, you know, do you want to play a game? And he goes like, fuck yeah, I want to play a game.
Yeah, that's
and
like,
then it's all like, but it turns out that he's going to start World War III and doesn't even know it. Like,
because he thinks
he's all like,
the
because the computer thinks that it's the Dr. Falcon. And
Robert Faulkner, I believe.
Yeah, and he goes like, "Oh, like what happened to you?" And he goes like, "Oh yeah, sometimes people make mistakes because the system thinks that he's dead."
Yeah, it's like, why was your username authentication taken out as of, like, December 19th, 1973 or something like that?
Yeah, and it's like because that he apparently died.
It's like,
unquote.
people make mistakes.
and so he's all, and so I think
Shall
what
we
was it?
play a game?
Yeah, the computer asks, "Do you want to play a game?" And he goes like, "Hell yeah." As long as I don't have to chop off my arm, I think we're fine. And he was, and so the computer even asks him. He goes like, "Oh yeah, I want to play thermonuclear war."
And he's like,
and he
would
goes
you
like,
rather play a game of chess?
Chess. And then because he's never played that game of thermonuclear war.
No, I want to play thermonuclear war.
Yeah, and he goes like, "Okay, fuck it. Like, who do you want to be? The U.S. or the
Which side
the Russians?"
do you want? And he's like, I want to be the Russians.
Yeah, and then both him and Jennifer are in the room just going like, what should I do? And so she goes like, oh, fuck it, just bombard them. Like, who should I hit? Oh, hit Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. And then
hit Seattle. And then, so she was all like, yeah, like, send the subs. And so hit him with everything you've got. And he goes like, okay, fuck it.
And then
at the same time, you've got the guys at
NORAD.
Panem. Yeah, NORAD. Where they are like,
They're
oh my
freaking
god,
out.
like, what the fuck is happening? And then it turns out that nothing happens. So
because, like, it's a simulation that shows up on the screen at first, but they go all the way up to DEFCON 2.
Yep.
Because, like, the whole,
because
like,
they see
I think
that the missiles are about to touch down in Vegas and Seattle, and then when he shuts off the computer, the screen turns off, and so they're like, "What the hell just happened?" And like nothing actually happened.
The guy runs out and is like, "Stop! Stop! It's a simulation! Stop! Stop everything!" Which, like, is just crazy to me. Like, they just go through all of these motions, And I think this movie is the thing that popularized or like made people like aware of what the DEF CON system is.
Oh yeah, because like he even got asked like, "Do you know what DEF CON means?" And he goes like, "No."
Defense condition.
Yeah, and then he goes like, "When we're at 5, that means that we're at peace.
Peace.
But when it's 1, that means we're going to be at World War III."
Yeah, one means it's Armageddon. It's World War III. Like the missiles are flying.
Right.
We're about to fly.
Yeah.
Right, because like
we're at war
like,
now.
We're suspicious.
Yeah.
DEFCON 3 is like, okay, now that something is really ramping up. DEFCON 2 is we're mobilizing.
Yeah, and DEFCON 1 is like, okay, now we're at war.
Now we're just like we're asking the president to launch these missiles. That's what DEFCON 1 is.
Right, and
because of like I've heard of like DEFCON 0,
which
like,
is just like
I
nuclear.
Like, I wonder if there's such a thing as DEFCON 0. It's like I thought it was like DEFCON 0 is like a video game series. I'm like, okay, that's not what I mean.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But I hate. I started hating this because I never realized this because like it doesn't happen enough in modern movies now. But like, when the character would get the news of the shit that they're doing, from a news channel or like the radio or something, where he comes home from school. And so, like, his mom seems like that she's mad at him for something. And so he goes like, what happened? And so she goes like, oh, like, look at your grades. Yeah. And go show your dad. And so he goes like, okay, look, Dad. Like, I just think that's also, like, pretty awkward that it's all like, he's not 5, okay? Like, he's 17 years old.
I think it was a little awkward, too, because, like, you're shouting like, "Hey, you got these grades," and then Dad's in earshot.
Oh, let's see. He's
in the next room.
Wow, look at that. It's like he's not like 8 years old where he just got home and he goes like, "Mom, Dad, look at the painting I drew." And they're like, "Wow, would you look at that? It's going to go right up here on the fridge."
But oh my God, I can't believe we were remiss to mention that David has a dog.
Yeah,
it's
Bo.
a golden retriever. It's amazing.
Yeah,
a very good dog.
Yep.
I'm making an effort to list whenever there are animals in these films now, because the last time that we omitted a cute animal from one of our reviews, I received a criticism for it. So
what
now
was that?
For Nausicaa.
Oh,
the little
the fox thing.
I'm already in deep water right here by forgetting what the name is. But like, yes, the little fox thing that Nausicaa has. So now I'm gonna make it a very clean effort. It's like that Twitter account that's like, can you pet the dog?
Yeah.
In a video game, it's like, yes, you can pet the dog. So I'm gonna do that from now on.
Dude,
I
get excited when I can pet animals in any video game. I'm like, fuck yeah, I can pet the goddamn dog.
So if there is a cute animal in any of these films that show up, I will let you, the audience, know about it personally, because I've been given criticism that I should do that more, or that we should do that more.
I guess.
So, but yeah, you were saying that like, he gets the news that like,
apparently like they were about to do World War III, and then like something
government
happened.
would never say that to like,
because that just the general audience,
like there was a training simulation, like that is just going to cause like panic. Like don't say, like the government would never say anything, because that's how he finds out. And then Jennifer Collins is like, David, did we do that? Did we do that?
I don't know. Like I think we did. I don't know.
I'm going to prison.
Do you want to come over and bang or something? I don't know. Like, I'm freaking out right now, dude. Like, I'm under stress.
He doesn't say that.
I know. He doesn't say any of this.
Disclaimer, he does not say that. There like, I hate that, by the way. When there's like it's trying to be a serious situation, but like the main character is always trying to mooch on the girl.
Yeah.
Like, there's none of that in this film. Don't get it twisted.
It's a wholesome family movie. It's almost as good as E.T.
I wouldn't say this is a family movie. They say shit in this movie.
Oh, like what family doesn't say shit?
Like, okay, like, dude, it was bad. Like, side tangent. When I wanted to watch this movie first, real quick, I watched it on YouTube TV, and it was the TV version, which was censored. They censored goddamn. They said,
well, yeah, because you can't say God with damn, because you're blasphemizing the word of the Lord. Is
I don't
what
give
it
a
is.
shit. It's like
But
this movie was in 1983, and they said
honestly,
"goddamn," and then they
I
said
don't
shit.
give a goddamn
So
about
like
it
when
anyway.
I heard that, I was like,
so,
"Oh hell no! I'm not watching the censored version of this movie. I
fuck
hate that."
I'm buying it right now.
I literally, I rented it.
well,
Like,
yeah, so did I.
But that is, but like I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not gonna listen to a purposely edited film.
Yeah.
And I also want to avoid like that was the first red flag to me. Whenever I see a movie that is censored, it's like, oh, this movie is gonna have ads, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want to
I
watch
hate
a
that
movie
shit.
with ads. You know?
Well, then don't watch movies on Tubi or Pluto TV.
Well, if I watch them on my computer, then I have ad blocker.
True.
So.
But I thought it was funny because like after he gets arrested, he's in the nurse's room.
Yeah,
and the nurse is on the computer, and then like the guy starts hitting on her.
Casual.
And he goes like, "Oh yeah, I heard that you're a great tennis player." Like lifts up a trophy, and I'm like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here!"
Like we do a little bit of casual sexual harassment
at the workplace.
Again, this movie is definitely showing its age.
Oh yeah, because like I thought it was just like weird and creepy and everything because he was just like, "Oh, I heard that you are a great tennis player," and so he's all like, "Maybe you can teach me some lessons." I'm like, okay, his picking up point is on point. Okay, like him hitting on her is on point, and
he just keeps going at it.
Yeah, he just keeps going at it, and he goes like, "Oh, like what can you look up on this computer?" And so she goes like, "Oh, like you can do this and that," and so he goes like, "Oh, can it teach me how to do a backhand?" And I'm all like, again, on point for his pickup game. But then he starts going over the thing, and so she goes like, "Leave me alone, like stop it." And he goes,
"I heard you were voted Miss Fine or something like that."
Yeah, and so she's like, "Oh, I've never
God.
heard that before." Well, at this time, I also again more hacking happens because he breaks into this drawer because he takes the drawer out. He goes into the locked cabinet that's underneath it, and then he finds a tape recorder that it's like. This is also funny that like one of the guys that was recording himself, he goes like, "Oh, it appears that he must be on marijuana and PCP," and I'm all like, "What?" And then
they did not have to put that in there.
No,
but they
and
did.
then he also had like a pair of scissors that he uses to cut the cord for the dialing system that's on the door because that's how you can open the door and lock it.
Right, and then, like what happens is he knocks on the door. And then
he goes like, "Hey, I need to go pee." And he goes like, "All right, well, do you need to take a leak or no?" And he goes like,
"Nope."
No, because like he wants to talk to Dr. Falcon.
He's like, "Please let me talk to Dr.
Or the other doctor."
McKinter.
Yeah.
And
the guy that he was talking to earlier.
He's like do you need to go or not? No. Because he's about to be picked up by the FBI. They're going to take him away.
Right.
He's in the war room right now.
Yeah, because they don't believe that he's not working for another agency or like overseas or anything like that.
Which,
like
how
as a
stupid
spy.
can you be to take the person who hacked into your computer systems to the place where the actual computers are? Why didn't they just take him to a local like FBI processing center? You know, why did they have to take him to NORAD?
Yeah,
that was really dumb. But how he gets out is even more dumb.
Yeah, because like he records the guy punching in the numbers, and then it's all like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna relay this message back into the system," and then it's going to and then the system is gonna be like, "Oh yeah, like." I punched in the numbers so you can unlock the door. And it's like, that's not how that works. I'm sorry.
The computer picks up the same... It's not the sounds. It's not, the actual combination of the numbers.
And like that's the biggest thing. And like, again, it reminded me of hackers because they would record like change going into the slot and hitting the bottom. And so they're like, "Hey, like I'd like to make a collect call." They're like, "Okay, deposit 25 cents." And he goes like, "Okay," like hits the tape recorder. And then it would seem like that it does that, and they're like, "Okay," like start punching in the phone number, and it's like, "Okay, cool." And then that's how they would start doing that stuff with the payphone. I'm like, man. That's not how that works. Yeah,
they're like, please give me the phone number for this address and this person.
Yeah, and it's all like, okay, like please deposit 25 cents or 75 cents or whatever it is.
Like there's no like. Man, if this was any later, like in like early 2000s, he's not getting out of that room.
No, not at all.
100%.
He would have to like figure out a way to go through like a duct or something to leave the room. Like, there's no way that you can get out of it by that key card.
Yeah,
or the
but,
keypad.
Even so, there's no way he would have been able to get out of that room. I feel
Yeah.
like, but somehow he manages to sneak past the guard, who's supposed to be watching the door,
Right.
because the guard is in the middle of sexual harassment.
Right.
Again,
Trying to pick up the nurse.
If this was a couple years later and then people started to really crack down on sexual harassment, David would have not gotten out of that room.
Not at all.
Can you
No.
think about that? Think about that as like if workplace sexual harassment was more cracked down on, David would have had gone to the FBI, would have been arrested,
Yep.
and the world would have ended.
Oh yeah.
All because of sexual harassment.
Right.
It's so
But, like,
ridiculous.
he manages to like get out of the building and then get on he
crawls through the ventilation.
He crawls through the ventilation system, and then he
waits
manages
for an opportunity to get out.
Yeah,
without
and
anyone seeing
then
him.
when he waited, which was the perfect time for this to happen, was like a group of people that were walking through the facility.
group.
Yeah, and so why this guy was an asshole to him, I have no idea.
guy
Because
stops
like
him.
this guy stops him and he goes like, "Hey, what the fuck do you think you're doing?" And he goes like, "Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I was looking around." He goes
kids
like,
shouldn't
"You
be
know
walking
that?"
around here.
Yeah, and he goes like, "You shouldn't have left the group." And he goes like, "Yeah, sorry." And he pushes him away, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? It's not that serious."
Like, sorry, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah,
it's
and then like
it was the initial grab is to make it seem like he got caught, and it was like, oh,
yeah,
this is it.
well, yeah,
right?
like that makes sense. But then
then,
for the
like,
guy to
this guy-
treat him like an asshole, like that's
because
fucked up.
this is back when kids weren't special yet.
No,
You know, kids
not
kid-
like, okay, little Timmy, like, oh, you got
Hey,
a little
we're-
schmutz on your cheek.
Again,
Okay,
this is a little bit
go
later,
play.
hey kid, you lost? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, tour group's that way.
Yeah,
But
it's like, oh, go follow the tour group. It's over there. Hurry up.
The treatment of like children in this film is
Well, it was the
absolutely-
'80s, so
It was the 80s. Again, it's back when a time frame where children were not special yet.
No.
So the fact that he's able to get on this bus, but more
Nobody
so,
asks him anything. Like the bus driver doesn't, like whoever's in charge of the tour doesn't literally, or any of the people that he's with go like, "Who the fuck are you? Like, you weren't with us earlier."
No.
Like,
Nobody
where did
questions
you
it.
come from? Like,
The
he's
last-
just on the bus. They leave the facility, and then he gets on a truck with the truck driver, and then calls
Okay,
Jennifer.
Before we get to that, because I want to get to that.
Yeah.
The more stupid thing is that the FBI agents are stuck trying to get the door open for the infirmary because
Yeah.
he broke it down. So he's like, they have to call a technician to get there. So there's 3 FBI agents: the guy who's walking the door, the lady at the desk, and the technician trying to get the door open. And they waste all this time. It's like, oh well, he got away.
Yeah.
And now here's another thing.
Also, the fact that the technician was just in the way. Like, once he gets
Yeah.
it unlocked, they're trying to push past him.
Get out of the way.
Immediately. And then, like, once they try to
could've gone
leave,
far.
he's in the doorway. And then they literally just, like shoulder tackle him. And I'm like,
And then-
dude, Jesus Christ. Like, fucking relax, man.
The one thing that also really gets me is that David hitchhiked
Yeah.
to the nearest payphone.
Well,
from-
especially then, it was
after he
like,
got off the bus.
it was like no big deal, apparently.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
you
like-
could just hitchhike and, like,
And
get
he
a
was like,
ride
"Here you
from
go,
somebody.
pal." Like, here you go. No problem. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Scenario. If David Lightman, while hitchhiking, was killed by a serial killer, think about that, because this is the '80s, a little after maybe like Ted Bundy,
Mm-hmm.
but like
Now I'm
Like-
curious. Please keep talking.
So, if David Lightman had been kidnapped or killed by it because he was hitchhiking on the side of the road, the world would have ended, right?
Yeah.
Because like he's a 17-year-old kid. A lot of shit could have happened to him, which also like he calls up Jennifer and asks him to buy a plane ticket for him to go to
he
Oregon
goes
to
like,
find.
"Hey, can you give me some money so that way I can go to Oregon to go to this
and
place?"
tell him to send the ticket to like this airport and whatnot. It's like what?
Yeah.
I guess you could technically do that, but like again,
Well, I mean, like, you could still do that now. Like, you
Like,
can
there's
go.
so many
you can go to
places-
the airport and just go like, "Hey, can I buy a ticket for the next available flight to wherever?" And it's all like, "Sure." Like, that leaves in half an hour. It's like, cool, awesome. Like, I could just go through the gate
there are
and
just
do
so
that.
many like different places where this could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one who could have stopped this.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody else had the wherewithal to go.
No,
look for
because
Dr.
like
Falcon.
even the
So
general, he was
if-
about to like go like, yeah, I'm gonna push the button. Like,
if he died in a plane crash, the world ends.
Well, yeah.
If he gets kidnapped while being hitchhiked, the world ends.
Yeah.
If sexual harassment was more cracked down on in the 1980s, the world would have ended.
yeah,
All right? There's a lot of things that could if the FBI just took him to somewhere else besides NORAD, the world would have ended.
Yeah.
That's just like the perfect amount of events had to unfold in this movie
Yep.
to prevent World War III, which I think is just ridiculous, if you
Yeah.
ask me. But it makes it so much more interesting to sort of break it down. So, again, when he calls Jennifer, he breaks open the phone and he uses the fucking soda can that's on the ground, basically to hot wire the phone to make it to work so he can dial it, which is the most dumb thing.
which I don't even think that would even be able to do
He
that.
connects it to the phone booth itself to get it to spark, like he's hot wiring a car. If people could do that, I'm pretty sure the phone companies would have figured that out and then they would have changed it.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like the 1980s and nobody, if things happen that just people don't really pick up on because
Right.
there's no internet and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
things can just happen. Like, also, this is back before the government could tap your phones, because David and Jennifer are talking to each other on the phone very explicitly about what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And if this was in like post 9/11,
also the fact that
they
like,
would have been caught red-handed.
well, even for the fact that like after they get off the phone, his phone reads again, and it's the computer system.
It's the computer trying to
And
call him.
then
It's
it's
a
all
learning
like-
computer.
Yeah, and so it's all like, hey, I want to continue to play the game, and he goes like, no more games, and so then he like it keeps trying to call the number, and then he
It's like, you
disconnects
are
the
a
phone.
hard man to reach, Dr. Falcon.
Yeah, but like even after that, he goes to Falcon's house and he like talks to him about like having Falcon go with him to NORAD to go and stop.
But Falcon
this.
doesn't give a shit anymore because he's all about dinosaurs now.
Yeah.
He's moved from computer science to paleontology. He's switched.
Yeah.
He's switched professions entirely.
And then
but
I
this
did-
scene is actually really it hits hard, man.
Oh yeah, because like his son died, and they're like saying that like even Jennifer tells him that like, well, I'm 17 and I haven't lived yet, so like I don't want to die, and he goes like, it's whatever. And
he's talking all about like nature like tries to correct its own mistakes. That's why the
Yeah.
dinosaurs were wiped out. So like maybe we're just destined to like kill ourselves because nature
That's what
decides
we
that it's
do.
time for us to be able to do that. It's just
Yeah.
like he says something specifically like there was I'm kicking myself that I don't remember a line he said, because I remember him saying that. It's like, that's hard. That's a hard ass line, because like
yeah, but
he tries to play it off like he doesn't actually care about this at all.
Yeah.
He's trying to move on, and he's trying to constantly kick them out of the house. Like, he tells them, like, you're trespassing. The ferry leaves at 6. Go away.
yeah, and then the last fairy leaves and he goes like, oh yeah, you're welcome to stay overnight
Welcome
if
to
you
stay
want.
here, I guess.
Like you can sleep on the floor, but
No,
I
he-
did.
Oh, I know what it was. Sorry. He says that, like, well, I decided to live 3 miles away from Seattle. So, 3 miles away from major population center. So, if a nuke hits, then we'll be instantly vaporized. So it won't
yeah.
hurt.
It's all right. I've planned ahead. We're just 3 miles from a primary target. A millisecond of brilliant light, and we're vaporized. Much more fortunate than the millions who'll wander sightless through the smoldering aftermath. You'll be spared the horror of survival.
Yeah.
It'd be worse for the survivors.
Oh yeah.
And it makes me think about, like, a situation that actually happened in history where it was a Russian military officer who was in charge of, like, the beginning part of this film where the two guys are in charge of the nukes.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity to blow us all off. His name is Stanislav Petrov.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity to, like, launch nukes because of, like, a warning that he received, but it would turn out to be a false alarm later on.
Yeah.
And he decided not to do it. right? So he's like, this doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it. And then him making that decision basically saved all of humanity. Which again is I'm super smart. I know that, and it's like,
Yeah.
It sounds like hyperbole, but it really isn't. He really just like his decision not to launch the nuke sort of like saved us from like destroying ourselves.
Yeah.
And this was post. Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
I think this was also in the 80s. I think because I read on Wikipedia that shortly after this movie, in the same year as this movie came out, the Russians had a false alarm. So I wonder if that is a different one. You have to wonder how many times that there's been a false alarm on either side.
Yeah.
And they just hadn't reported it. And it's been like classified that like this ever happened,
Yeah.
So but when he's talking about like, it would be a mercy to be vaporized instantly by a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Rather than survive and live in like basically Fallout.
Oh yeah.
It's like that is rough.
Yeah. I did love the fact that like after all of this, so like Falcon takes both of the kids to NORAD and then they go into the facility and stuff. And so Falcon like comes into the war room and he goes like, General, what you see on the screen is not real. And then the general goes like, Dr. Falcon, I don't think this is a great time for a conversation right now.
It's a bad time to visit.
Hello, General Barringer. Stephen Falcon.
Mr. Falcon, you picked a hell of a day for a visit.
General, what you see on these screens up here is a fantasy, a computer-enhanced hallucination.
Yeah, and so I just thought that was hilarious. But like even throughout that whole time, Dr. Falcon is just telling them like, oh, like what you're seeing isn't real. It's made up. It's make believe. It doesn't exist.
Because he's the only one besides David who
that
understands
knows.
how Joshua.
Yeah.
They refer to him as Joshua sort of thinks.
Yeah.
Because like this whole time during David trying to find Dr. Falcon and stuff like that.
The computer is
like
going through the simulation, and it's all like, oh yeah, T minus like 10 hours before nuclear.
But also
struck.
like they do things like Joshua sends like stealth bombers towards Alaska, and they have to figure out whether or not it's real or not. And this whole time that they're slowly
like
ramping up to
jets
like
and stuff, and they're just
DEFCON
like,
3 and
yeah,
DEFCON 2.
nothing's
It's
happening.
like like the jet fighters in F-16s literally go over Alaska, and it's like what you're. Like, there's nothing here.
there.
It's blue skies. And this whole time, imagine it to being, like, one of those guys just, like, I'd be fucking stressed.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
This whole time. It's like, there's no way that David, like, gets out of this without any sort of consequences.
Right.
Like,
But he does.
He does, but,
like,
as
in
far as we
a
know.
real situation, no. Like, you definitely would have just been locked in a box.
But
I also love the fact that, like, they're getting ready for the nukes to hit the U.S. And so both David and Falcon are like, hey, hold off on that strike
tell the
and
president
see what happens. And then, like,
because the
they
nukes are flying.
Yeah,
so far in the
they're flying, and then they hit, and then nothing happens.
Because the general is calling all the other bases and say, like, are y'all good? And like, yeah, we're here, we're still here, we're alive.
Yep, and then I thought it was funny because then Joshua was all like, fuck you, I'm making this a reality. I'm getting the launch codes now.
And it's like, because the whole point was like, it was a game of chicken, it was a bluff.
Yeah.
Because that's Falcon's whole thing is like, poker and like global annihilation is the art of the bluff, right? Yeah. So when the bluff didn't work, it's like, well, I got to move on to my next plan, which is to...
global devastation.
Which is for me to launch America's nukes.
Yeah.
And that way I'll win.
Yeah.
Because I'm America, and I was just hoping that...
Because David was the Russians, and so he sent his attack. And then the computer is supposed to fight back with the U.S.
So its first plan was to simulate nukes flying so that the Americans the U.S. would launch their nukes and the computer would win off of that. But when that bluff doesn't work, he's going to say, okay, forget the bluff, I'm just going to go do it.
Yeah.
So now Joshua is decoding the launch codes, of which there are 10 digits. So he's literally going through all the combinations, and you can see it up on the screen. It's very menacing. It's very suspenseful.
And while that happens, David's all like, "Wait, bring up the list of games again."
Because before this, they were. Falcon was explaining to David that the one thing that it was never able to teach the computer was futility.
Yeah.
That it's going to keep trying to do things, but it never knows when to give up.
Yeah.
Because it never realizes that things are futile.
Yeah. And it's also the same thing with, like, earlier in the movie where they're at Falcon's house. He goes, like, why did you, like, have you ever played tic-tac-toe? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes,
like, why'd you stop?
And he goes, like, because it was boring.
It was always a tie.
And it was always a tie. And so he goes, like, exactly.
Yeah, because the only, like, two people who know how to play tic-tac-toe are always going to end in a tie.
Yeah.
The only time that tic-tac-toe, you win tic-tac-toe is when you're playing against someone who doesn't know the best strategy to be able to beat.
Yeah.
It's a very simple game.
Because then David goes like, oh, well, bring up poker. And poker doesn't work. And then chess doesn't work. And then they're like, wait, tic-tac-toe.
One's not on here.
Yeah.
Like tic-tac-toe.
And then they start playing.
Joshua tried to hide that.
Yeah.
Because I think it knew maybe that, like, tic-tac-toe was sort of a feudal game.
Probably.
So, it does that, and it's just like, when it's like, okay, we'll play players 2, right? So they play against it, and then he plays against it.
No, it's players 1 because it's just one versus the computer.
Yeah, one versus the computer. It's just like...
So, but then they start playing, and then he goes like, oh, can it just play itself? And he goes like, yeah, do player 0. And so it starts playing, and then it gets all 10 digits, and then once it finally gets to where it's like knows that it's a draw, then they go like, then the whole system shuts down.
But then it starts back up again.
Yeah, it comes back, and then the computer goes like, well,
hang on.
I've known
now I've learned about futility by playing tic-tac-toe against myself
several times.
What if I apply that same logic to
global
thermonuclear war,
and then goes through the simulation, and then just like keeps strategizing, going through different situations that, like, okay, well, this nuke goes off, and then all of a sudden,
and you get to see all the names of the strategy.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and then,
I see one of them is like Indy-Pakistani war.
Yeah,
it's like no winner, and then it cuts to black, and it says, "Greetings, Dr. Falcon."
Like, it seems like no matter what I do, this game always comes in a draw.
It's a curious game.
Yeah. And he goes like, do you want to play chess?
The only winning move is not to play.
Yeah. He goes like, do you want to play chess instead?
Greetings, Professor Falcon.
Hello, Joshua.
Strange game. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess?
And then the movie ends.
Yep. And then they all celebrate. They all give each other hand jobs and blow jobs.
Again, like, I kind of like that. Most movies will, like, have the final climax hit, like the big conflict is over,
and then
they'll have
cheering.
some, like, little shit afterwards that, like, the movie's not over quite yet. There's still some other stuff that they gotta, like, wrap up. But then you have a movie like this that just ends.
Yeah.
I'm like, good. I'm kind of glad that it did, because now we don't have to, like, do this, like, epilogue sort of deal after the film is like, we cover all the stuff we need to do. The movie's over. Go away. Cut to credits. You know, I like that. I like that in certain movies. Movies don't do that anymore. They just fill the last, like, maybe 10 minutes of their movie, which is a bunch of, like, loose ends. We got to tie up. Last words, stuff like that. Instead of just being like, okay, big event's over, movie's over.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yes, that is the end of War Games.
War Games.
So now
very complex movie. A lot more complex than I thought it was going to be.
So now we will get to our ratings on this being a rent, buy, or skip. So, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because this was my movie.
Yeah. It was your pick.
It was my pick that I put on the wheel.
Yeah.
This is a buy.
Fuck yeah!
I knew that you were going to say that.
I think this is a buy. I really do. Like, I was very surprised by how good this movie was after knowing very little about it, or, like, sort of like a base summary of what the movie is about.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I thought this movie was a kid's movie.
Yeah.
I thought this whole time, probably because of the games in the title, and I thought that David's character was much younger than he actually was. I was talking a little bit about this to Devin the other day. It's like, wait, it's not like a little kid. No, it's a teenager. It's a high school kid. So like, he's still young, but like I thought he was like a lot younger. It was like some little kid is like messing with. Like I thought it was a comedy.
Right.
No, it's a very suspenseful drama in some places, which I thought it was going to be pretty cheesy as well because it's a movie from the 80s.
Right.
But I really appreciated how much this movie gripped me with what was going on, and I just love the suspenseful moments that this movie gives us, and the clever, scene work and the ways that like military jargon is sort of thrown into there to make us think that like, oh, what's going on, but like you can kind of decipher what they're saying, but not quite.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good portrayal of the military because oftentimes when the military is portrayed, it's done half-assed.
Yeah.
In certain ways, like this seemed real, and this would seem like a little bit of a deep dive into like, oh, this is how this sort of situation would play out and stuff like that. Like a little bit. It's not like 1-to-1, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was gripped during this film, and I couldn't say that about some other movies that I've seen that like involve like some sort of like a military situation type of deal where it's like, oh, the end of the world. Like I feel like this movie really gripped me.
Yeah.
From right, like I think it really started for me once I saw David sit down at the computer. It's like, okay, here we go. This is when it like this movie.
This is when it pops off and when it's gonna get off the rails.
This movie really didn't have too much like fluff at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like everything in this movie that was part of the plot was purposeful. I feel like there wasn't really a point where it's like that doesn't really need to be there. It's like why are we doing this right now? It's like no, everything seemed like it had a point to it, and I was really impressed by the story and the writing of this film. Score, the music was pretty good for the suspenseful moments that we had. Performances were really good as well. So I'm gonna say that this is a buy. So
okay.
A lot of yap there, but it's a good movie.
Good. Yeah, I would have to agree that it is a really good movie. It's really well done, especially for the time that it came out. It was very like,
well in terms of story.
Yeah. Versus like technology wasn't there, but
Yeah.
you're only limited by the technology that you have for the time, but that's regardless. But the story was really good. The character development was really good and everything like that. But my question that I pose is, do you really actually need to watch this movie?
Yes. I feel like you do.
Because like to me it's not a buy. So
to me it's not. To you it's not a buy.
Yeah, to me it's not a buy. So, which begs the question of like, okay, do I consider it as a rent or a skip? And again, it's like last week's episode of Paprika. I'm on the fence with it, of it being a rent or a skip. Yeah, because of the fact that I'm all like, I haven't seen it since I was like 8, 9, 10, something like that. So it's been years since I've seen this, decades even. So it's all like, okay, like, do I really need to watch this movie?
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily.
I feel like
don't think.
I could make the argument. I mean, you just heard me to make the argument that you kind of do. It's a good,
but like, what would be the reason why that you need to watch this movie though? Other than the fact that it's like a good movie and stuff.
It's a good indictment on the dangers of allowing computers to make decisions for human beings. I'd say it poses the same type of message about the dangers of machinery over humanity as Terminator does.
Yeah.
It provides this. It's the same message, except in this movie, we get to see what happens if we stop the computers before it's too late, rather than Terminator is the aftermath of what happened when we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same exact message, in my opinion. And there's a lot to be gleaned now, especially like we've certainly done a lot of films that sort of dip into the dangers of technology.
Yeah.
Of overdeveloping technology. We saw it with Paprika.
Yep.
We saw it with Terminator. We're seeing it with this movie that like over-reliance on machinery. The general, he was right. Both of the guys were actually kind of right. McKinnick, the computer scientist who helped design Whopper, and the general, because their whole argument was, well, you need to have people in charge or else the computer will make bad decisions, which is what happened in this film.
Yeah.
But also, the computer scientists were correct. It's like, well, you can't rely on people to make moral decisions when it comes to the fate of the world, right? So both of them were correct. But we ultimately get to see that humanity prevails in this film because of the events that unfold with the computer. So I'd say there's definitely some lessons to be learned, even from this film that was made in the 1980s, and the computers that they used back then wouldn't hold a candle to some of the stuff we have right now.
Right.
So, like, there's definitely some, like, there's a lesson to be learned here, and especially with what Dr. Falcon was talking about in terms of, like, extinction level events, and that, you know, there wasn't a creature that was over 60 pounds that survived.
Right.
From the time that the asteroid hit the dinosaurs, you know? It's like, that hits hard. So,
well, back to my thing.
Okay, look, listen, you want me to make my case? I'm making my case right now. You look at me like is he gonna stop talking at some point? It's like I'm trying to fight for this film, and you're saying it's a skip? You're on the fence.
Borderline.
Borderline is a skip. You said the same thing about Paprika too.
I did.
Paprika I can get, but this film is saying it's a skip. Come on, we gotta have a little bit of discourse here, Devin. You can't just be like, oh, it's this movie is 100% worth your time. It's like I was trying to explain to you on Paprika. The skip really is like don't bother, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like don't even watch it once, right?
Yeah.
You have to watch this film once at least. I think that this movie is worth your time, more so, in fact. I think it's a really good film. Personally.
Well, I do too. I think it's a really good film.
Then say it's a rent.
But again, it's also the thing of it being that, like, okay, do I need to watch this movie though?
Look, listen, I let you get away with saying a skip on Paprika. I'm not letting you get away with saying it's a skip on this film.
Fine,
right?
It's a rip.
It's a rip.
Rent. It's a rent skip.
No, I'm not even letting you. Don't half-ass this. All right. I'm not letting you get away on this one.
Okay, it's a low tier, very low tier rent.
I mean, it's all right. Like,
see, I thought this film would be right up your alley, right? In terms of like computers and like.
When you said war games, I was like, ah, shit, here we go.
What, you really thought you went into this movie thinking,
I haven't seen this in like maybe 2 decades.
You went into this movie thinking that you weren't going to like it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Pretty much.
Oh, come on.
I was all like, okay, like it's this kid that hacks into this program and does a simulation, and then it starts. It's almost about to be World War III.
Don't you think that it's a little bit more than just like?
Well, yeah,
it's a lot more than just the simple like description that the
is a compelling
movie.
Yes, it is a compelling movie. It's a good movie. It's almost as good as E.T. But
it literally said in the tagline,
exactly,
it's almost as good as E.T.
Exactly,
or it's as good as E.T.
Yeah, see, and like for me, that's kind of the reason why it's like a very low tier rent. Like you can watch it once in your life and be good, and just move on. Just like me. This is the second time I've seen this.
I think if for me, a buy is like.
Well, you can enjoy this whenever you want. Then
cool.
You can go home and buy it.
Thank you very much, Devin.
You have my permission.
All right, can we get can we get to suggestible people now?
Yes, making this longer than it should be.
God, I'm not making it longer. I'm just trying to make my case.
Okay. So here on IMDb, I have a 1 and a 10-star review on the website.
Well, I guess we need to do both now.
We because we will take suggestive people and read what they had to say about the movie, and then we will go off of that. So I have the 1-star review.
First off,
There's only one 1-star review.
Does it say the year by any chance?
Yeah, it says it 2001.
2001?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really like it's recent, but not too recent.
IMDb, a great database for just letting people know. IMDb.
Sorry
database.
about that. My cats wanted to fight. So, so I have up the 1-star review. It says that it's cute.
It's cute.
Cute.
Oh my god.
I'd hardly call this a social warning film, but it does have its merits. Chiefly the cast, and in particular John Wood and Ali Sheedy, who are both so lively and interesting that they help carry the rather dated and cloying plot. A kid hacks into a computer to play war games, of all things. This film hasn't aged very well, but its audience is clearly 13-year-old video game addicts, so it's hard to get mad at it. Enjoyable fun for kids.
Okay, buddy. This guy's from 2001?
Yep.
Do we have a month on that? By any chance?
July.
It does say July?
Yeah. July
Really?
18th, 2001.
Interesting. I wonder what this person would have to say about war games now. Also, video games.
Yeah.
Because is it just because he played Galaga in the beginning? That's why it's appealing to 13-year-old video game players in 2001.
Well, again,
Is that why?
I remind you that he wanted a gaming computer.
Yeah, me too.
So, but
he's a 17-year-old, of course. Like,
well,
yeah, like what else is a guy who's really into computers gonna want?
I don't know.
You know?
But regardless, not really much to go off of there.
Not
Just
really.
like-
Yeah, it's dated. In other news, the sky is blue, water wet.
Plus, I also don't think that like it's warranted to have a 1-star, because like it's a great movie critically and audience wise too. So, but like
highest rated films of all time.
Yeah,
actually.
Plus, like for that, it's like that's not really a review. That's just saying something that you didn't really like in the movie.
Just yap it.
So, but now moving on to the 10-star review, which isn't that long. I purposefully did this. So,
yeah, because you knew this runtime would be going so long, huh?
I mean, we're like an hour and a half now. So, a great classic. When it comes to great classic cyber films, nothing beats war games. Not even those other classic cyber films. Not even Ready Player One can compare to the awesome storyline and special effects.
Well, I mean,
there wasn't any special effects to this movie, but
there really wasn't any. It was like practical effects.
But this was also back in 2021 with this review, so it's a more recent one.
What is he talking about?
So
we're also talking about Ready Player One. Okay. I mean, you could say that a lot of things are better than Ready Player One, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I actually decently liked Ready Player One. I haven't seen it since it came out of theaters. But
would you buy it, Devin?
No, actually, I wouldn't. I would rent it though.
I'd skip it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen it twice. I think we'd skip it personally. If you quick reviews.
Yeah. All right. Well. Is there anything left for War Games?
No, we covered it, So we get to move on to our next film.
Yes. So now, instead of us just going back and forth, going like, well, what movie do you want to watch? I have designated a wheel that I will spin where it is a list of movies that we have compiled between Jack and I and amongst a couple of other people that are our summer blockbusters. So next week we will have decided what we are going to talk about.
See what we got.
And let's see what we've got. Oh boy, howdy. It's a really good movie. We got Transformers.
Oh, God.
The first one.
Okay,
Oh, no. It's spinning again. Hold on.
That is the first... That is Transformers 1984?
No.
Or
the first
Bay's
Michael Bay. Michael Bay Transformers.
I can't say that I don't like that film. Because that was my personality back in 2009? 2008?
Hey, I love the Transformers movies.
I consider the first one to be the best one. and then it's sort of the first one and the third one are good. The second one is, and then the fourth and fifth ones are bleh.
Yeah.
So,
but yes, that'll be
Michael Bay's Transformers.
Yes, that'll be next week's episode of Transformers. So tune in for that. With that being said, since we don't got anything else going on, thank you all so much for tuning in, watching, listening, and be sure to follow the show on Spotify, on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section below about a movie that you guys want us to talk about, and we'll put it on the list. Also, be sure to share this with anybody that enjoys people talk about movies, movie reviews.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
Just, casual things. But yeah, we've talked long enough, so we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
So, goodbye.